y'all? This is just gonna be a little short video. Um, in case y'all don't know, I have a 1985 Chevy Caprice station wagon. I'm kind of trying to do a little bit of a build, but not, make it a little more streetable and everything. And well, I picked up something today. Bingo! ZZ4 5.7 liter Vortec V8. This is a 350 small block, but it's one of the last ones that they built or mass produced, and it's pretty much one of the better small blocks to get. I mean, yeah, there's some in the 70s that are either on par or better than this one, but for the late 90s, before the trucks had 5.3 liters and stuff like that, this is the motor to get. This is, as you see, a roller block, where a lot of the other 350s are flat tappet blocks, which they're fine, but this allows me to use regular oil, regular off-the-shelf oil, rather than having to find additives and stuff like that. I could run synthetic oil in here. They are dish pistons, and these are cast pistons, but for my purposes, they should be fine. Just identification number GM57L6. Then that's the casting number. We'll focus on it. I did a little bit. Oh, anyway, that's the casting number. And you might be asking, where are the heads at? I got them right here. This is how I picked it up. As you see, I don't know which one is it. As you see right here, where is it? One of them has the casting number. Yeah, right here. I don't know if you see that, but they're 062. So these are Vortec heads. Another way to identify the Vortec heads is the intake manifold bolts. Yeah, 2 on each end and nothing in the middle. So that proves that these are the Vortec heads, which the reason why these heads are so special. They're 64cc chambers, so the compression is a little bit higher. They got rather large intake runners, and they're, for an iron head, these are kind of light, which is good for performance, but also kind of weary on if you ever overheat the engine, which I don't think this engine ever was, but because if they overheat, they crack. These are known to crack, but I don't think that these have that issue. Well, one thing about these heads that I don't like, which is just how they are from the factory, these are pressed in rocker studs, so if I ever decide I want to run a bigger cam, I had to get these taken out and have it drilled and tapped for screw in rocker stud and whatever guide place I decided to add. Story on this motor was the guy I bought it from had a friend that had a truck, that four-wheel drive truck that I guess the intake cracked on it, because I guess they have plastic intakes, and a little bit of water was getting into the lifter valley. There's a little bit apparently, so instead of spending the time to get a new intake and all that, they just pull this motor out to, I guess, throw a 5.3 liter or something like that in there, which makes sense, especially nowadays. That guy had it sitting around for a while and he's getting ready to move, so he decided to sell it, and I picked it up today. It rolls over very, very smoothly. I don't feel no binding. I don't hear no noises aren't meant to be there. Cylinder walls, I still see the cross hatching from the factory, though there is some staining and couple scratches to be expected because this motor has allegedly 82,000 miles on it. So it is to be expected, and it looked like they didn't do well on the oil changes either. So I'm gonna have to clean this block up before I do anything with it, really. But yeah, stock from the factory, this engine made I think 250-ish horsepower, which is a lot better than the 160 horsepower that the 305 in the Wagon makes. But I got something special planned for it. In this box right here, you all might be able to see it already, but I got a turbocharger laying around. This turbo was meant to go on that Z that was sold a while back. I just had this laying around, so I figured, well, might as well put it on a Wagon. And yeah, it would have made 305 a little less than gutless, but it's easier to build a motor outside the Wagon, put the turbo on it, kind of fab everything up, make sure all the oil lines ran right, to drill the hole in the bung inside the oil pan, etc. So that's why I went this route. I was very on the fence about either getting the 350 like this or just saying screw it and getting the 5.3 liter. But a 5.3 liter, you have to like mess with the mounts a little bit. It will bolt to the transmission, no problem, but for the mounts, you gotta mess with them a little bit. And I might have been able to get it very cheap from the junkyard, but everyone on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatnot wanted like $800 just for the motor. And if you want the harness and ECU with it, it was like another. It would came out to like $1,000 versus this motor. I only paid $300 for, which is a little bit high in my opinion for this, but you know, it's fine. And it says low mileage, judging by what the guy told me and the condition of the cylinder bores. There's no ring ridge at all on any of the cylinders. I still see the factory cross hatching. I am going to do just a quick hone on them to kind of clean them up a little bit. So it's a roller block. So yeah, my power goals for the Wagon really isn't too much about power. I said this motor made 250-ish horsepower stock, and I think the Wagon be really good with that or with the turbo, hoping around 300. Wagon's got a tow package on it, so that's kind of like why I want to use that turbo. You know, that turbo is a little bit undersized for this motor, mainly the exhaust side. But later on, if I decide to, I'm gonna always put a bigger turbo on it, which kind of brings up to the build process of this motor. I am going to just reuse those heads. I'll probably take them up to the machine shop to get them at least checked out and or have the rocker studs done on them, get them cleaned up a little bit. The motor, I'm just going to use the stock rotation assembly is provided that everything's all good, which it should be. I'm pretty sure I ain't going to have an issue there. But those you might know is cast pistons, cast rods, cast crank. So I can't run a crazy amount of boost on it. Think of it like an aluminum LS engine. Can't really run a crazy amount of boost on those. But what I'm going to do to kind of make it last with this turbo, although I think the wastegate pressure on this turbo and how much it flows, this engine will be able to handle it no problem as is. I'm just going to take the ring end gaps and open them up a little bit. I think it's 19 top and 19 on the top, 19,000 on the top ring and 20,000 on the bottom ring. I'll look at that when the time comes. I'll just get a file to spec ring kit for this. The bearings, I'll probably just do. I'll inspect them, but I'm probably going to just replace at least the rod bearings, the main bearings. I'm probably going to leave alone because I don't plan on taking this motor that far apart. Of course, I want to put new gaskets everywhere, new timing cover, and cut timing cover gasket, new front and rear seals, new oil pan gasket, new head gaskets, which I might get thicker ones. I might not, because I think the stock compression ratio on this engine was like 9.6 or something like that, which is fine for pump gas with like a 8 pounds boost. So, provided I do the timing right, I am going to convert the whole wagon to EFI. This is an EFI block, even though you could get a Vortec manifold that's made for a carburetor. I could also get one that's a single. I could get a single plain intake manifold that's already drilled and set up for EFI. So I'm gonna go that route. Been looking at the exhaust manifolds I need to run the turbo, and there's one that's technically for I think a C10 pickup truck, which should be able to run fine on the wagon. I'm not exactly sure. I have to do a little research on it. But it puts the turbo on the driver's side or the passenger side. I can't remember. But and it has a spot for an external wastegate. As you see, this turbo's got an internal one, but since this is kind of like a cheap turbo, that wastegate may give me some issues. So if so, it's already set up for an external wastegate. I just have a block up plate on it for now. Or if I decide to go with an HX35 or something like that, a much bigger turbo than that, always a turbo with a bigger exhaust housing. Those usually don't have built-in wastegates, so I'll already have it set up. Exhaust wise, I'm just going to run a single 3-inch exhaust all the way down to the back, but I wanted to put a nice quiet muffler on it, so I'm probably going to go with like a Cherry Bomb turbo style, or like a turbo style muffler, but I also would like to put an exhaust cutter on it to if I really want to hear this turbo spool and whatnot, open it up and it'd be able to hear it. I think it'd be cool. I'm going to keep the stock cam in it for now. I think on the heads, I'm going to put the 1/6 rockers on it just to open up the valves a little bit more. Another thing with these heads is that you can't go too big, at least with the stock springs and retainers and stuff like that. You can't go with the giant cam on it because the retainer bombs out on the valve guide. So you either have to get different retainers or get the valve guides machined down a little bit. So that's something. And like I said, even then the rocker studs, they tend to pop out with the big cam, big lift, heavy spring pressure setups. Those the rocker studs you could technically do at home. There are ways to do it, but I don't have the tools, nor do I have the steady hand to do it, because you got to make sure the rocker studs are almost perfectly aligned. Otherwise, you start wearing out the valve guides and all that, wearing out the valves too. Another thing about this motor is a one-piece rear main, and it's those separate remains where you can technically change it outside the truck, outside the vehicle. The engine can still be in the vehicle, and you don't have to drop the pan to change the rear mains. Because the older engines, they have a two-piece rear main where it is built into the rear bearing cap, and those you have to pull the oil pan off, pull the cap off to get it out. This is just a one-piece one, and it's pretty much accessible from the outside. But I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to change all the seals, change this little gasket that's right here, which I think is just the RTV for some reason. Just to make it all fresh. Paint the engine, kind of going around paint ideas. If I'm either just leaving it black, doing the Chevy orange, or doing something similar to like the color of the wagon is already, which is that dark gray, like the charcoal gray color. I think would be real nice with the black heads, and either black or chrome valve covers. I'm gonna have to get the hat for the turbo to put on the throttle body. I'm probably gonna use the same throttle body I have on the truck. That uses because that has the idle air valve and spot for a GM LS style map sensor on the back of it. Then yeah, I'm gonna use probably use a micro square on this again. I'm gonna want to find a kit to put a reluctant wheel on the balancer, or right here on the crankshaft with the magnetic pickup on here. That way I could kind of eliminate the distributor and just get one of those oil drives that go down in there that you see on some blocks. Then I'm thinking about doing coil unplug, kind of like an LS. Make this kind of look like an LS, but not really. And however, I can also use the distributor that's in the wagon now. So that's a locked out computer controlled distributor. I should be able to use that as well to drive this, but I kind of want that's something I want to figure out later on when it comes to the point. Of course, I'm going to put a new water pump on it. I'm also thinking about seeing if I can find the accessory drive for this block, because it's a single serpentine belt versus like a million different V belts. But theoretically, the whole front drive, the accessory drive from that's on the wagon now will fit this no problem. It just would be cool to be able to get the accessory drive on here, because I move the AC from the driver's side to the passenger side, and the alternator from the passenger side to the driver's side, which will make mounting the air filter on this turbo a little bit easier. And of course, there's one belt controlling everything, so that's something I'm going to have to figure out myself later on. Or just get new motor mounts and all that. I pull out these lifters and see how trash they are, if they are trash at all, and judge if I need to replace them or leave them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Get the proper flex plate to it, because I believe on the wagon it's a two-piece rear main engine, but this is of course a single piece rear main. So the flywheels, the flex plates don't interchange. So that is something I'm gonna have to find. It shouldn't be too bad. Probably get a nice one too. That will last. Then this harmonic balancer, it kind of looks crappy, but this rubber material in here is not dry rotted. But I'm still going to change this, because might as well. Even though this doesn't look bad, there might still be some micro cracks in here, and at higher RPMs this could explode, which will be bad. So I'm going to see if I can find a sealed unit, kind of like what I have on the truck, and probably a small one too. Because apparently this motor is internally balanced, so this harmonic balancer is literally just there to make sure that the acceleration events on each cylinder doesn't shake the whole engine apart, rather than it being shaken apart by an imbalance in the engine. So yeah, plus it'll also make it easy to mount a reluctant wheel on here with for the crank signal. Anyway, that's going to pretty much do it for today. So this is a nice little I guess first step of the build for the wagon. And I'm pretty excited about it too. I kind of can't wait to start digging into this, cleaning it all up, getting it all ready, and of course assembling it on the engine stand. And when the day comes, swap into the car, which I may or may not make. Which I'm gonna try to make a video on that, but I gotta figure out when I'm gonna do it, when and where I'm gonna do it, because I don't really want to do it here, because my landlord will probably get mad at me again. But I know my brother-in-law's got a shop I could do, so I'll probably film everything over there. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to do it for today. You don't know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. My username will be in the description. And just be safe, have fun, and don't forget to tip your waitress.